I wish I was a disco boy, moving like I'm paranoid.
All right, hi Eric. Welcome at the Video Office. We're super excited to have you visiting from LA for a couple of days. So you thought it would be good to have a quick discussion with you to understand a little bit better what you do, what's your job as a manager of Milky Chance, but also with Biscuit. So yeah, maybe could you just intro yourself a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I'm Eric Fritschi. I'm the founder of Ansatz Music Group, and we do global marketing and career strategy for artists like Milky Chance, Petit, Biscuit, Super High, and Neon Dreams.
Cool. So Eric, it's been quite. You've been working with so many artists since since a few years. So could you tell us like what has been the biggest evolution in the markets that have had impact on your work, and how do you develop the artists?
Yeah, for sure. The biggest evolution has been the transformation to streaming over the last 8 years or so. And that has meant more from a focus of purchasing and getting consumers to buy something from you to more of a passive market share, being part of somebody's life, emotional resonance, creating memories together, things like this. So that is meant for our artists. It's a huge opportunity, but it's been challenging because you need to be always on, always trying to get into people's conversations and stuff like this. But it's also meant more global, more interesting, things like this.
Okay, and I have the feeling that artists like Petit Biscuit, who started in France, with also Milky Chance, who started from Germany, have really benefited from this evolution, from the to the new evolution to the digital world. Could you explain to us what has been the story behind those artists, and how did you leverage digital to develop them?
Yeah, it's easiest to start with Petit. Petit, I think, at one point in the traditional business would have been confined to one or two countries. That's how we did it. You would market in the one country, and if it had huge success, you'd start to think of some others. At the beginning of working France, the playlists were able to move his music around the world at the same time. So even if the marketing was similar in the beginning, you immediately saw audiences in the Americas, across Europe, Australia, Asia, and it created a lot more opportunities, fewer gatekeepers, where just like socials, a direct connection to fans and a way to talk to them. So those playlists became early days, like in global radio stations that he was able to get on. There are playlists for literally every genre. So you don't have to fit into a particular radio format, but you can fit into playlist formats and find fans all around the world. For Milky Chance, they happened just before streaming. So there was it first did start on YouTube and sort of get a buzz going, and then it turned into a big mainstream record. And it's been fun to work on getting that back into streaming.
All right. So rather than developing country per country, then you guys started to develop the artists more globally at the same time, and it means that you have a very different way to organize your strategy and try to see this as a very global thing rather than a step-by-step development.
Yeah, if you think about it, in a streaming world, having to have success in one country, you could work the one country. That makes it quite difficult, or you could work multiple countries and let them work together. Because if you're in France, you might listen to French playlists, but you might listen to playlists from Africa or from the US or from Australia or something like this. So if you have things happening in other places, first of all, there's more paths to success, and we love that, rather than just one. And you could become bigger in France by having it all work together. So that was the first thing. Even if your goal is to just be popular in the one country or break through in the one country, you work multiples. And then, of course, you wake up and you have traction in other countries as well, and opportunities in other countries. So we saw the artists could immediately start traveling, do more PRs, touring, stuff like that in other countries.
All right. I remember we've had so many inspiring discussions about data and how data is part of the your signature on how you develop the artist. So could you tell us a little bit more? How do you utilize the data to develop the artist? How maybe do you utilize the technology we have developed, data usage, to also make your decisions? And maybe how does that influence your release strategy when it comes to data?
Yeah, sure. As streaming has evolved, it's really become about algorithms, which can be quite scary for some people in the creative community, because it sounds like something not human is picking hits and things like this. And we don't feel like that's the right way. There really are recommendation engines, and what they're doing is harnessing fan behavior. So for our perspective this is a great opportunity for artists. It gives you the freedom to really focus on the fans you have instead of thinking about the fans you don't have and delighting what you do have. Because if you do delight the fans that you already have, the recommendation engines notice this and start to find fans like that. And so it's a strange way of thinking that to grow, you look inward instead of outward, but we've had this work over dozens of artists.
Okay. And you have an example of the usage of data that you have had for an operation where you focused on the small community of fans, and how did that have an effect on building larger communities?
Well, for one thing, on the more traditional side, we put out a song. We're looking at data to see where it's reacting. Mm-hmm. We're already working multiple countries, looking for fans across the board rather than in one place and one way. So the data can help us with geography. It can help us with benchmarking against our previous releases to see if this is a more reactive record that we should lean into, or a little bit less reactive we should let up and let happen more organically. We joined the Milky Chance team. We saw that the fans really loved cover songs, remixes, live versions, acoustic versions, and the band wasn't doing a lot of that officially. There was a lot of unofficial content, but not official content. We were able to use that data to talk to the band to help inform their creative decisions and see what they felt comfortable exploring. And that led to the trip tape idea. I put out a couple of mixtapes that have some cover songs, some new demos, some remixes, a little more freedom. And it really paid off. Suddenly those fans were really excited about it. We could see where and to which songs they were responding to. We could put more marketing and content efforts behind them.
Okay. One of the recent change in the way we also develop artists is that the arrival of all of the short form video platforms such as TikTok, Shorts, Reels, and this creates new opportunities for artists to find their audience. What has been your perspective on the birth and the growth of those short form video platforms, and how do you utilize them for your roster of artists?
More traditionally, if you're building a community around your artist, people really respond to stories. So it's great for storytelling. It lets the artist tell what they want to tell in a way that they want to tell it directly to the fans and not waiting to go through press outlets or the other things that we used to have to work with. So for the artist, it's a real opportunity. But maybe the most transformational, of course, is it has created a whole community, a creator community that can participate with the music. And that's been the most fun. So now if we're delighting fans, one of the things we use to delight fans is to give them the tools to interact with the music.
All right.
So that could be an instrumental version or a weird remix or a new cover version or something like this that they can lean into and create their own creative on top of it. And so although our artists are not working on creating their own trends, they're providing the tools for the fans and then use their creativity to drive songs and storytelling even further.
Okay. That's very inspiring. One of the things I believe also where we are really focused in how can we drive more discovery for artists through algorithm-based recommendation. We've been pioneer in utilizing the technology like Spotify discovery mode, and we've built some technology on top of this to make sure that we manage to leverage as much as possible Spotify discovery mode. what has been also your perspective on Spotify discovery, and how did that beneficiate to your artists?
Well, in a couple of ways. For one thing, in the streaming, when you're trying to delight fans, and it doesn't matter where the fan is coming in, it's coming in through the first song you ever put out or the song you put out last week. What we need is flexibility and autonomy to allow the band to do the fan delight things. A lot of times the traditional relationships actually create rules of what you can and can't do or how quickly you can react. So Believe has been a great partner for us in allowing us and facilitating that flexibility to lean into these kinds of things. Then we're trying to get into these algorithms, and we need new tools. And so Believe's experiments with discovery mode has been very powerful for us because it's another way for us to find new fans and bring them into the universe and bring them in deeper. So it's had a great impact on that exploration.
Okay. One of the things where we have invested a lot is also coordinating international initiatives to develop an artist. So we've created that program called the ITL program, where a lot of your artists have benefited. Could you also tell us what has been the key learning and the key benefits that you had seen for creating this program internationally with our EMP teams?
Well, first we need help reading the record and seeing where the traction is coming from internationally. So the international teams are helping us read the records, talking to the partners locally. Believe has built an incredible local presence in so many important regions around the world. So they're helping us read the record and feed back to the global strategic team. And then, of course, taking what's happening in one region and moving it to the next region is one of the easiest things for us to expand our musical reach. So it's been great.
It's been great. Well, it's good to hear that through a good coordination, international presence, we managed to leverage both of the efforts and the priorities that you built with the artist. Eric, we wanted to know, how do you build with Believe the strategy behind the release of an album? When do we engage, and how do we organize the collaboration during the release of the album?
The first phase of a new release actually starts with the catalog. So in a recommendation engine, if you're an established artist, you're going to be your number one referrer. So we're going to start hopefully a couple months before the first new single comes out. So we are talking to the Believe team at that point, trying to engage them on the pre-release plan. How do we build momentum going into the first single? Then how do we use the single or the couple of singles to launch into the EP or album product? DSPs, if you're looking for big stuff from them, they're working earlier and earlier.
Yeah.
So you're trying to get in as early as possible to give the key DSPs time to really think about and dive into a content plan around your album. So it's as early as possible. The minute we know that the artist is getting close to finishing the music, we're in with the Believe distribution team to start that planning process. So hopefully that's 6 months ahead, 9 months ahead, something like this.
Okay. We wanted to also conclude this little chat with some your perspective on what has been the most satisfying moments in the development of the career of Milky that was had the chance to welcome here at the Believe office.
I think one of the best things when we met with them and we talked them through how we thought the industry was working, it was quite different. The thinking was about going back to your fans, focusing on what you have, not what you don't have, and stuff like that. But the band has trusted the team and really embraced it. And what's been so fun is it's now infiltrated every part of their business. So you can feel that creatively they have the flexibility, that there's no roles, and it really is about finding what's authentic in you and how fans can connect to it. So we've seen their live show step up. We think that they've just turned in the best album of their career, album number 4. There's just a playfulness, a funness that their autonomy and freedom has brought them. It's been really fun to watch.
Thanks, Eric. Hope you guys have enjoyed this little chat, and we're very excited to have Milky Chance playing in a few minutes for us. So thank you very much.
I
Thank you.
should be dancing. I should be dancing.